What's going on, family? Sip checking in and welcome back to another Raptors video. Everybody, we got a special video for you today because recently the Toronto Raptors selected Elijah Martin out of Florida State at the 39th pick. And let me say that I'm super interested in this pick, not only because he is the upcoming point guard or shooting guard for the Toronto Raptors, but more importantly, when you look at his game and everything he's improved on in his 4 years at college, it's definitely something that the Toronto Raptors are definitely going to use in the upcoming season. And I believe that Elijah might even make some noise as the season continues. Not to mention the fact that he's a college champion at that with Florida. So without further ado, let's break down Elijah's game and everything he has at his arsenal that could help the Toronto Raptors for the upcoming season and the seasons to come. Now, right off the bat, when you look at Elijah Martin's game, as I said before, he's definitely a point guard or a shooting guard. There's no doubt about that. But the key area that really differentiates him in comparison to players like Jamal Shead on the Toronto Raptors is Elijah Martin's game reminds me of a Eric Bledsoe or a very explosive type of point guard or shooting guard that doesn't really need the ball in his hands to get going. Because when you look at Elijah Martin's game, especially during his time in the NCAA championship recently with Florida, a lot of his points, whether that be attacking to the glass, hitting those three-pointers, catching lobs, or anything else in between, came off the ball. And he didn't really have the ball in his hand much and was still able to contribute. And on the Raptors, that is going to be huge because when you have a lot of guards like Jacoby Walter, Jamal Shead, Emmanuel Quickly, even Scotty Barnes at times, there's going to be situations where the remaining players needs to get their points through other means possible. And to have Elijah Martin be more favored in getting his opportunities or his shots through off-ball movement, that is something that the Toronto Raptors will definitely maximize, in my opinion. And it's something that Elijah Martin, I believe, will continue to improve on to help him get extended minutes on the Toronto Raptors for the upcoming season. Now, speaking of Elijah's offensive game, you know that Elijah gotta have more skills than that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been drafted as a Toronto Raptor, because the Toronto Raptors are known for drafting two-way players, meaning players that are really good at offense and defense. And luckily for Toronto Raptors fans, Elijah has great defense too, from one, getting a lot of steals, whether that be in a half-court set or on the fast break. Number two, being a very defensive presence for opposing point guards and shooting guards, which often causes them to make careless passes and helps Elijah get those fast break opportunities more often than not. But the main one, number three, that I really appreciate is his box out ability, especially in situations where Florida was at the free throw line. Because let's be honest with each other, a lot of the Florida putbacks, especially at the free throw line, came from Elijah's box out 'ability and being able to just grab it and dunk it, which is super underrated for his height because, mind you, he's fighting and boxing out against 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", small forwards to centers. And to do that at like a undersized 6'1" or 6'2", that is super impressive, and it just speaks to the explosiveness that Elijah had. So I believe that box out ability, as well as all of the offensive and defensive skills that he's been developing over his 4+ years at Florida State, will definitely translate volumes when he's playing with the Toronto Raptors. And it's just going to be a great way for the Toronto Raptors to get that explosiveness that could change the tide in any game from a point guard standpoint. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do for the Toronto Raptors this upcoming season. Now, the final conversation we need to have on Elijah is how is he going to fit into the Raptors rotation for the upcoming season and the seasons to come. And personally, I feel that Elijah Martin is probably going to be playing that shooting guard position coming off the bench for the Toronto Raptors. And at this current time for the Toronto Raptors, the two other shooting guards that are coming off the bench right now are Grady Dick and Jacoby Walter. And for Elijah Martin continues to improve, whether that be through the summer league or throughout the course of the season, he's going to most likely be taking Jacoby Walter's spot, because as I said before in the early part of this video, Elijah Martin loves to contribute to winning basketball through off-the-ball movement types of plays. Whether that be catching lobs on fast break scores, getting the pass through cuts, being a defensive presence through fast break steals, or anything else that involves off-ball movement. He's definitely going to be that guy who gets it and just has a really good explosive ability to really disturb the offense of the opposing team. And I believe that in times when the tide is shifting towards the opponent's favor, they're going to bring Elijah Martin in to change the tide and make it so that the Toronto Raptors have no way to lose the momentum from that point going forward. So yeah, that wraps up my thoughts on Elijah Martin being drafted at the 39th pick by the Toronto Raptors, being the newest point guard or shooting guard for the Toronto Raptors. And as I said before, I really like his game, not only because he's an off-ball scorer and the fact that he can be a defensive menace at times through his lockdown defense and getting into the player's head, but also, I didn't mention this in the earlier parts of my videos, but the fact that he has 4+ experience in college will definitely help him and give him an advantage, because he'll be able to see the game much more profoundly than a player that comes in right off their rookie year, because he'll have more of that experience with him. So, and I hope that in his time in the upcoming summer league or throughout the course of the season, he'll continue to improve his intellect and make more smart decisions for the Toronto Raptors to ultimately win games at a really high margin. So let's see what he does, and I hope he really has a really successful rookie season ahead. So with that being said, let me know in the comments below how you feel about Elijah Martin. Do you like him? Do you not like him? Or do you think the Toronto Raptors should have gone a different route in selecting somebody else? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to talk about it all. And as always, if you like this video, make sure to give me one of these. Smash that subscribe button and hit that bell. And I'll catch you all in the next video where we'll talk more Toronto Raptors basketball, more NBA basketball, or more sports in general. And until then, Siv, signing out.